I'll come back. 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 I'll come back.
So if you guys want to make
I'm gonna take
funny
my
faces
pants
at
off.
us, you go right ahead.
Get comfortable.
You could be sitting there just sticking your tongue out at us, and we'd have to keep a straight face. It'd be great.
Good. Okay. First and foremost, before we get started, do we have permission vocally to use your guys' answers in an article to share with our fans?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay.
Where are you
wonderful.
guys
Thank
from?
so
I'm
much.
sorry. Can you tell us?
We are the Barcast. We are a 100% community-driven podcast.
Awesome.
Where people who donate to us and all of our advertisement revenue is given to horse rescue charities, specifically Red Wings Horse Sanctuary in Middle California. We support a horse named Little Bit. And what we've came today with are questions from the people who regularly listen to our show that I want to ask you guys. Typically, we're asking individuals in the community. Today's a very special day for us. So I'm going to start with a sweet question that was sent in to us.
You have my permission as well.
Oh, yeah, permission. Granted.
Yeah,
And would you like to
It's
ask
like
them to
sitting in the
introduce
exit
themselves?
room.
for
Oh,
the
yes,
audio?
please.
Excuse our nerves.
Please just very quickly introduce yourself so they can hear your voice.
I'm Brian Hohlfeld. I'm a writer on season 8 and season 9 of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic.
Hi, I'm Nicole Dubuc. I've been executive producer and story editor on My Little Pony seasons 8 and 9.
My name is Maurice Lemarche, and I'm a voice actor, and I had the privilege of playing Chancellor Neighsay in season 8 of My Little Pony.
Wonderful. I'm going to lead us off with our first question. Obviously, My Little Pony is not only an ongoing series that has inspired children of both genders for generations, but over the last decade has inspired a wide array of children and adults alike. So our question to you is, when you were young, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a superhero. Yes, I love the cartoon show Hercules, the 1963 one that goes, Hercules, hero of song and story. And I just wanted to be able to put on a ring and be stronger and save people and all that sort of thing. So that's what I wanted to be when I was really young. And then a gourmet cook. I wanted to be a chef. And then finally I realized that I wanted to make people laugh for a living.
And that you do.
Yeah, for sure. I think for a while I really wanted to be a vet, and also a griffin. Not necessarily in that order. But yeah, no, I really didn't even consider writing for animation until I was kind of offered this opportunity to write a script, and then suddenly it was like all the pieces of my life came together, and it was like, of course that's what you're going to do, because I love animation and I like telling stories, and Pony is so much fun for both of those things because, you know, we've got all these fantastical creatures, which has always been my jam. So.
I just remembered that I would practice lip syncing to Al Jolson records when I was about 6 years old in the mirror.
How'd that pan out for you?
Well, I could have made a career out of lip syncing Al Jolson if somebody were hiring for that. But instead, when I was like in grade school, I wanted to be a senator when I grew up. I was going to run for public office, and then I came to my senses. But I think I've always known. I grew up watching movies, and I always wanted to be involved in the film or TV industry, and then I started writing.
Wonderful.
From the voice acting side of things, I know that you've had to imitate other people's voices before, and when doing that, is it something where you're watching a lot of them, watching the way their face moves, or it's something you can hear and internalize and imitate?
It's all of that. I watch very often, where the mouth placement is on a celebrity I'm trying to imitate, but I also go just by sound so that I can learn it audio only. But yeah, it's all of those things. Body language. If I do, like for instance, Peter Falk, I'll sometimes just kind of lean forward and drop one shoulder and cross my eye, and suddenly I'm Columbo, or I'm the grandfather in The Princess Bride. So that I've answered your question as you wish, I hope.
Wow.
Can I jump in on that because Mo is
Yes.
amazing, first of all. And I think this was a story that Ginny McSwain told us about when you guys were working on Bobby's World. Is this correct?
Oh, okay.
And they wanted you to do a voice from Jurassic Park and you hadn't seen the movie yet. So they sent you to go see the film. Is that the case?
That wasn't. It wasn't Bobby's World, but it was.
What was it?
I do remember. It was something.
Yeah.
Yes, and I ran out
During the session.
During the session.
During the session, watched. Was it Goldblum? I think
Yeah,
I
it was your
did
Jeff Goldblum, yeah.
Yeah, and then came right back.
And then, of course, he nailed it because he had just like, all right, I see it, I got it, because he's such a professional.
From one time seeing Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, and then it fell out of my ears. I've never done Jeff Goldblum again. So,
No worries.
yeah.
But again, it's what makes Mo and what makes all the great voice actors good at what they do is they're actors first, and then they've trained themselves to use their voices. But without the acting ability, without the ability to bring a different character, to bring your emotions to it, then it's just voiceover. So I think that not all. I mean, that was Peter Falk. It was internally Peter
He
Falk.
came
as well.
into the room with us just
Yes.
now.
Thank you.
All right. Well, our next question is, who do you think is the best villain in the show and why?
That's a good question. I mean, I have a personal favorite villain, and then, I don't know. Okay, so Discord isn't really a villain anymore per se, but he will always hold a very special place in my heart. He's one of my favorites. I'm very excited that I got to create Cozy Glow, because she's been a lot of fun.
Oh.
I don't know. Pony has such great villains, it's hard to pick. You got a fave?
I think Cozy Glow, just because it was such a great reveal and such a turnaround, it was like, all about Eve with My Little Pony.
And of course, I think I know who yours is, maybe.
Cozy Glow.
Well, as I'm sure everyone here is very well aware, the series is winding down. Now that it's ending, do you find you're more excited to move on to something new? Or do you find you're more sad that this is going away?
I can tell you when I was writing Uprooted, I was crying. I mean, because it's so hard to say goodbye to this world and think about all the people it's touched. And so I tried to put that anyway in the song that I wrote about the idea that even though this chapter may be closing, we'll always have what we've built together. And it can live on in new ways through us. So yeah, I'm very sad to say goodbye. It's a great world.
No, I have nothing to add to that. That was well stated. I really do like the way that episode sort of set up the end of the show, not only as a show, but as a cultural experience. You're speaking to that. And like telling the fans, don't worry, it's gonna live on even if it's not on the air anymore.
I only got to play a little while in the kindest, gentlest sandbox in all of cartoondom. But yeah, I'm sad to know it might be coming to an end. I would have loved to come back. But this is it. This is the nature of life. Life is a series of lettings go, of moving on and saying goodbye to that and remembering it. So
9 years is a good run. Boy.
yeah.
Are there any other than The Simpsons? Are there any other
Animated shows, do you guys
that
know?
Futurama.
How long was Futurama?
Oh,
Futurama,
You-
seven seasons,
Yeah.
but interspersed over 14 years.
Yeah, that was a lot of years.
We're about due for another resurrection. Hopefully someday.
Love to see you back at
I'd
it.
love to do it. In the meantime, I'm enjoying doing Disenchantment, Matt's new show.
Yeah.
On
I'm
Netflix.
enjoying that a lot.
And
It's a
we're
wonderful
just
show.
starting on seasons 3 and 4. So
Thank you for
great.
telling us that.
there you go.
Well, just as we've opened the door, we must close it now, and that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer our users' questions, and we really hope that you guys have a rest of a wonderful convention weekend.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for having us, and thank you for all the work you do with the charity. We really
Yes.
appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Cut.